Okay, I think we can get started now. Tonight's meeting will be conducted in both English and Spanish. To join the Spanish interpretation room, click the globe icon labeled Interpretation at the bottom of your screen and select Spanish. During the presentation, please enter questions or comments by clicking on the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. The presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the Stoneybrook Local Park project page. The translator will now explain these steps in Spanish. We'll pause briefly to allow everyone time to join before beginning the presentation.
Muy buenas noches. Para escuchar en español, haga clic en el icono de interpretación en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Durante la presentación, ingrese preguntas o comentarios haciendo clic en el cuadro de preguntas y respuestas en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Esta grabación se publicará en la página del proyecto de Stoneybrook Local Park. Vamos a permitir que todos, vamos a tener una pausa y vamos a permitir que todos tengan tiempo para poder unirse a la sesión antes de comenzar con la presentación. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Drew Yelverton, and I'm a site planner and landscape architect with the Park Planning and Stewardship Division at Montgomery Parks. Thank you for joining us tonight to talk about the upcoming Stoneybrook Local Park renovation project. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here and share your thoughts. The main purpose of this meeting is to gather your feedback. We'll start with a brief overview of the project, share ideas for the park renovation, including the proposed new skate park, and explain how you can provide input as we move forward. Here's a quick overview of what we'll cover this evening. Again, we'll do a quick project overview, next steps, and open the floor for discussion. Following the presentation, we will answer questions you share with us in the chat. Our goals for this project are to 1, refresh aging park infrastructure and amenities, 2, provide new inclusive recreational opportunities for all ages, such as a potential skate park, and lastly, improve safety, accessibility, and the overall park experience. We want Stoneybrook Local Park to remain a vibrant, welcoming space that reflects the needs of the community. This map shows Stoneybrook Local Park at the center of the neighborhood, primarily surrounded by single-family homes. There are also 4 nearby schools. This context has been central to our planning, as Stoneybrook serves as both a neighborhood park and a gathering place for families, students, and residents of all ages. These nearby schools and families were key considerations as we explored ideas for the park refresher and skate park, ensuring that improvements feel safe, inviting, and accessible for the local community. This slide highlights the park's amenities as they existed prior to this fall. Stoneybrook includes 2 lighted basketball courts, a playground, soccer field, 2 backstops, 2 lighted tennis courts with a practice wall, a water fountain, and the park activity building. These features have long supported a variety of recreational and community uses. Earlier this year, work began renovating and relocating the park's athletic field. This graphic highlights the proposed location of the new athletic field, which required us to remove the existing backstop in the site's northwest corner to make room for the updated layout. The new layout will improve functionality and create opportunities for additional enhancements, including space for the proposed skate park. as part of the broader park refresher effort. We anticipate that permitted play would not be until spring of 2027, and that we could potentially open the field up for informal play in mid-fall of 2026. As part of the refresher, we're considering updates such as new seating and picnic areas, pathway repairs, landscaping improvements, and upgraded play features. The next few slides highlight specific features where your feedback will be especially helpful. This slide shows the existing park activity building and a potential new shelter concept. The goal is to make the park more welcoming and inviting with a central space for shade, seating, and community gathering. Here, we compare the existing playground with the renovated playground at Strathmore Local Park. We're exploring ways to modernize the play area, improve accessibility, and create a more engaging space for children of all ages. To accomplish this, we're also considering the possibility of relocating the playground. This slide shows the existing basketball courts alongside a precedent for updated ones. Potential improvements include resurfacing, new lighting, and updated equipment to enhance safety and playability. We'd also appreciate your thoughts on what configuration you'd like to see. We typically don't do half courts, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on whether one or two renovated courts are preferred. Please drop your comments in the chat if you haven't taken the survey. This image shows the existing tennis courts and what a soccer court conversion could potentially look like. We noticed one of the fences was painted with a goal, so we're guessing the tennis court gets used in that capacity. Here you can see the existing asphalt walkway compared with an example of a new loop trail concept. Enhancing the path network would make the park more accessible and enjoyable for walking, jogging, and casual recreation. And finally, here's some more options that we'd love to get your feedback on. Would you like to see more grill stations, drinking fountains, seating areas, electrical outlets? These are all things we'd like to know. Another alternative is to consider the incorporation of a small outdoor fitness area. Again, please drop your comments in the chat if you haven't taken the survey. The proposed skate park is still in the outreach and planning phase, but it's anticipated to be between 6 to 8,000 square feet in size. We're early in the process, and the community input will guide decisions about the size, location, and features. Here are two quick precedents to demonstrate the overall size, character, and feel we're envisioning. As we move into the conceptual design phase, we'll share options and hold additional outreach meetings so residents can weigh in on the design direction. This slide gives a quick overview of the anticipated project timeline. We're currently in the community listening phase, which began this month and will continue as we gather feedback from residents, user groups, and partners. Next, we'll move into planning recommendations this winter through spring 2026, followed by design and permitting through 2027. Construction is anticipated to begin in 2027 and extend into 2028, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Before we wrap up, we'd love for everyone to share their feedback through our community survey. Again, if you haven't already done so, please take a moment to take the survey. The link provided on the screen will take you directly to it. The survey will remain open through November 28th, so there's still time to participate. And I believe we've also dropped a link in the chat. And again, your responses are extremely valuable and will help guide the next phase of the park's design and planning process. Okay. And again, to wrap up, this slide shows the existing conditions plan alongside some of the potential new amenities we're considering for Stoneybrook Local Park. We'd like to use this time to hear your thoughts, what you'd like to see improved, and any other ideas you think could make the park more enjoyable for the community. Your feedback tonight will help guide the next phase of planning and design, so please feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions. Uh, oh, Again, thank you guys again for joining us tonight.
There's a
I'm
couple
not
of questions.
okay.
Um, so we have one person who says, I've never seen kids skateboarding anywhere in the neighborhood. Why not something like a dog park to accommodate the neighborhood?
That's a really good question. Again, nothing's set in stone at this point, and I think that is a definitely a comment to take into consideration. The more comments we get, the better. That'll ultimately help us guide the direction that the park renovation goes into. So, I think if there's, an outcry or we have multiple participants or community members who are in favor of a dog park, I think that's something we'll definitely take into consideration. But again, we're here just to get your feedback. Nothing set in stone as far as the skate park. And again, I encourage you and anybody else to take the survey and please tell us what you guys would like to see in the park renovation project.
Thanks, Drew. So there's another follow-up question about the skate park. It says, how did you base your decision, or what did you base your decision on?
So I think the important part that we took into account for the decision of the skate park was again community context. We learned recently through an outreach effort that, skate parks are a new desired amenity amongst the community. And I think, we saw this opportunity with the park refresher and this, the opportunity that this space grants us to put a skate park here. But again, the decision isn't set in stone yet. We are here to listen to your feedback and gather your opinions, I think this could swing either way. So again, I would encourage everyone to take the survey. If we get enough people that say we don't want it here, we should consider something else. That's definitely something that we're going to take into consideration. I don't want anyone to feel like their comments aren't important, and that no one has a voice. So, again, please take the survey. We are in a listening phase where we're just here to field ideas from the community.
Okay, thanks, Drew. And do you have examples of skate park designs you're considering?
Uh, so I can backtrack to the two precedents that I showed. Um, Again, I don't think this demonstrates accurately what we're proposing, but I think from an overall size and feel, these are just two quick precedents. I mentioned that this proposed skate park would be between 6 and 8,000 square feet in total. I believe the precedent on the left of your screen, Tom's River Skate Park, is 7,000 square feet, and the precedent you see on the right is about 6,000 square feet. Again, there are different features associated with both of them, whether they're shade, seating areas. Again, if we were to move forward with the skate park project, those features are things that the community would have the opportunity to weigh in on and voice their opinion. But again, as far as now, there's no real design. We're still in the early planning phases and really just listening to you guys to see if that's something that would, make your park a better place.
Okay, great. Somebody sort of has a comment that says, I would appreciate a bathroom.
Again, we get a lot of those comments, but again, thank you so much. You know, uh, Again, I would encourage everyone to take the survey. I think currently now there's a couple porta potties out there, and I think, the more comments we get, the better. So yeah, uh, please take the survey.
Okay. Um, Somebody else asks, let's see, what's going to happen to the building there?
So the park activity building, again, that's something that we would love to hear your feedback on. I think I mentioned earlier in the presentation, and I can backtrack to that slide as well. Just give me 1 second here. Sorry. But yeah, again, as far as what's going to happen to the park activity building, that's really something that we'd love direction from the community on. Again, we have this precedent here to show what a renovated, shelter could potentially look like. I believe I mentioned that the idea is to make a more welcoming and inviting central space for people to, enjoy that has shade, seating, provide opportunities for community gathering. Maybe there's grill stations and trash receptacles and things of that nature. But I think ultimately, your input will guide the decision on what happens with the activity building. So if you guys are looking for a central meeting space, I think there are options in the survey where we asked, what would you like to see? I believe that a shelter was one of the proposed amenities. So, again, I encourage everyone to take the survey, and that ultimately will guide our decisions as we move forward.
Okay, great. Somebody says just a comment, so I guess no answer needed, but a communication board would be great in the playground. Thanks
Wow.
so much. That's noted.
Yes,
Great.
thank you so much.
Okay, and then are the plans to generally keep the green areas, the tree areas backing up against the local homes alone? So are we going to keep the buffer basically to the park alone?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Quick, short answer, yes. Trees, an existing tree canopy provide an amazing buffer between the park and existing homes. I know there's probably concerns about noise and safety, and when you think about a potential skate park, that could, obviously add to that issue. But, ultimately, the idea would be to keep as much existing tree canopy that we possibly can. But great question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Um, so next question is also a good one. It says, if you were to install a skate park, where do you think you might locate it? And when you say 6,000 to 8,000 square feet, how large is that compared to the square footage of the existing 2 tennis courts? So I can answer that last bit, Drew, and maybe you can answer the first part.
Sure.
But so 2 tennis courts together are about 14,000 square feet. So it would be, about a little bit more than half of the 2 tennis courts together. And Drew, the first part of the question is, if you were to install a skate park, where do you think you might locate it?
Yeah, that's another really good question. Again, I just want to reiterate, we haven't really begun a design process and we're, really in the community listening phase. I think ultimately, what I will say is that renovating and relocating the soccer field, pretty much opened up the possibility for a new park configuration as a whole. And I think, if we move forward with the skate park project, we would definitely listen to the community and take into account your thoughts and feelings and where that may be located. That may, I think that question is tied to, maintaining the previous question, maintaining the existing tree canopy to provide some sort of buffer between the homes. But I think ultimately, you know, if we move forward with the skate park, different options and concepts we would be presented, that would show a skate park in different locations that the community would have the opportunity to weigh in on. But there's been no, we have no concrete plans, or, we don't necessarily know quite yet where the skate park may go. But again, opening up the park, as far as renovating and relocating the field, was taken into account as far as, where the skate park may potentially be.
Okay, thanks. And that leads really nicely into the next question was, will we be getting updates as things are decided?
Yes, absolutely. So again, I think as we move sort of in the, preliminary planning, conceptual design phase, our park development team will continue to hold, community meetings where you guys are able to come in, voice your feelings, and, again, as I mentioned, features, location, all of that I think will be all encompassing and on the table, for future meetings. But at this point, I think we really just want more direction as far as, is this something you guys want, and what direction should we go in as far as our park renovation?
Okay. The next question says, what plans are in place for the playground?
So another great question. So I think it's really important, now to note, where the playground is, and I think, relocating it may be on the table, but I think, upgrading the equipment is definitely something we had in mind. You know, Upgrading the equipment, making it more appealing from a multi-generational standpoint is, again, are there certain features that you'd like to see? Is it, and I'm just throwing things out there, but is it a nature-based play area? Is there some sort of fitness component you'd like to see? Again, we're still in the early planning phase, and we don't have, necessarily a concrete direction as far as, upgrading the equipment, but that's something that we'd love your input and feedback on.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that and say, as you're taking the survey, please, there's a question at the end that is open-ended, and you can put your thoughts about the park, and please put your thoughts about the playground in there.
Yes. Thank you, Christy.
Is something like Maryvale Park in Rockville possible, like with a splash pad? I can go ahead and take that one, Drew.
Sure.
I I think a splash pad in this park is unlikely, but again, if that's something that's important to the community, we'd really like to hear that. And I'm not totally familiar with Maryvale Park in Rockville, but I just wanted to address the splash pad part. But Drew, do you know Maryvale Park?
I'm not familiar with it either. I'm sorry.
Okay. Again, please put your thoughts in the survey. If you want to reference Maryvale Park in the survey, we'll have time to take a look at it and see what features are available there. All right, that was the last question I saw in the question and answer area. So if anybody else has questions, please feel free to pop them in there. We'll wait a couple more minutes. In the meantime, in the webinar chat, there's lots of information about upcoming community meetings, about a skate park in Long Branch, and then also a link to the survey if you didn't see that already. All right, any more questions or comments for the Q&A? Oh, good one. Are there any more ways to be involved? Drew, do you want to take that one?
I think yeah, sure. I'll take a stab at it. I think at this point, I think at this point, taking the survey is the first step. And I think, we also do have a project page for Stoneybrook Local Park. So, and I believe the link for the project page should be in the chat as well. But I would just, stay tapped into the project page. We typically try to update it whenever you know, we have a community meeting or there's some event that we think the public should know about. And I believe if you'd like to, you know, share your email or contact information, you know, we can figure out a way to keep you plugged into the project as well. But I would say definitely for now, the survey and just, you know, just keep checking in on the project page. We typically try to keep that up to date.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, and leaving your email address as part of the survey will be really helpful. Then we can email you directly with project updates.
Yeah.
And as Drew said earlier, there will continue to be public outreach for this park as we develop concept plans and get into detailed design. So we can keep you updated as things move along. And the next comment in the Q&A says, "Thank you so much. Looking forward to a new playground." We are too. We're really excited about this project. It's going to give the park a new lease on life, and that's a great comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, good. We have more questions coming in. I'm curious why a skate park was proposed for this park. I've lived in the area almost 20 years and have never seen any interest. A renovated playground, both the area and the equipment, would seem to be more beneficial to the current population. Drew, you want to take that one?
Sure. Again, that comment is well taken, and I think, you know, again, you know, the more responses we get like that, or, you know, we'll you know, pretty much dictate which direction we go into. As I mentioned before, we pretty much underwent an outreach effort in 2022 as a part of our pros plan, which, you know, led us to, you know, the mindset that, you know, skate parks are a new desired amenity amongst the community and you know, a growing popular sport in the county as well. So in our effort to incorporate more skate parks into the county, again, we thought this would be sort of, you know, prime real estate or an ideal location for one. You know, but again, as I mentioned, you know, nothing's set in stone. We're here really to just gather input and feedback. So, you know, if we get more comments like that, obviously that will help sway, you know, the direction that we go into as far as whether this is really a good location for a skate park. But thank you for your comment. And again, I encourage you and others, you know, if you feel that way, you know, the more people we get to take the survey, the better. So,
Okay, thanks. The next comment says, if the county installs an electric vehicle charging station, what steps will be taken to prevent people from abusing it? I'm not going to read the rest of the question because I apologize if this wasn't clear, but we're not planning for an electric vehicle charging station. I think the plug-in we're talking about here, the electric plug-in, is actually like for charging
wall
your
out.
phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
like
wall
outlets.
outlet. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry if that wasn't clear, but I don't think we're planning on a charging station at this park for cars.
Yeah.
All right, next one says, thanks so much for your response. I appreciate the thoughts behind this and the outreach.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. We really appreciate that you're here tonight and taking your time to talk with us. It is 7:30. We still have time in the meeting, so if anybody else has more questions to put in the chat, we're happy to stick around and answer as many questions as come in. There've been some really good ones so far.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. Drew, I'll hand it back to you to wrap up. Oh, sorry, wait, just kidding.
One more.
There's one more coming in.
Sure.
If the skate park moves forward, what measures are being considered to make sure it's actually used for its intended purpose? I'm concerned about the potential for loitering, vandalism, or substance use. So I'd like to know how the county plans to maintain oversight and keep it a safe space for the community.
Sure. That's a really good question and point well taken. I will say, you know, as we move forward in planning and design, we do host a slew of internal meetings. Um, with subject matter experts. And in this case, we would definitely be meeting with park police. I think, as the renovation project moves forward, ideas as far as making things more, welcoming and inviting and maintaining open lines of sight are definitely, points of discussion that we would mention to park police in our planning efforts. Um, and I'd also say again, your input is definitely something that we need at this point. As I mentioned, there's no concrete plans on what the skate park will look like other than, an idea of the configuration and size. Specific features such as fencing, lighting, I think will definitely come later down the road. But, as I mentioned, we do, as we move forward with design and construction, we do host, internal meetings where we kind of figure those things out and those options and information will definitely be available to the public at that time. So, I would suggest you to, again, please take the survey, leave your email so we can, have the opportunity to send you project updates. You have the link to the project page as well. So again, if the skate park idea moves forward, you'll have the idea to voice your opinion, your thoughts, your feelings at, community meetings at a later date. But again, a point that's well taken and, definitely something that we're always mindful of as far from a safety and concern, from a safety standpoint. So thank you.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, and I would just add that often when we put new amenities in parks, it increases the number of people in a park, which is always kind of helps with the safety in a park.
Yeah.
More people, more eyes. Okay, next question. This is great. There are more questions rolling in. Is there a plan to level the ground or clear any trees? The slope is very awkward and there are a lot of dead and dying trees. Also, adding more garbage bins would be really helpful.
Yeah, a really good question. I mean, I would love more clarification on that question, whether if you're referring to a specific area. And I'm going to assume that you mean the playground where there's a lot of trees. I think in general, our approach is to try to maintain as much existing forest canopy as, tree canopy as we can. Shade is an important thing in our parks and for the environment in general. As far as leveling the ground, I think, as we move forward with design and construction, the project manager from our park development team, that's something that they would look at, is regrading the site necessary and how can we improve accessibility, and so on and so forth. But a great comment that I think at this point we're not there yet, but as we move forward with detailed design and construction, that's definitely something that we'll have to take a look at. I will say that when we do renovate and relocate our athletic fields, we do typically try to regrade the area so it's optimal for play. And I know that we also mentioned the idea of a loop trail and some new amenities that would also affect the grading the site. But again, not there yet. Great question, but something that will come later down the line in detailed design and construction.
Okay. And there are a couple of reactions to that question comment.
Sure.
The next person says, I like the trees and want more trees. There are plenty of garbage bins, more than enough. Please don't clear trees and add garbage bins. And somebody else adds, I would think a public park is one of the few places where one can loiter in peace. So thanks for those comments.
Thank you.
All helpful. Okay, and next is about the playground. Oh yes, the area with the playground. Thank you. That's about the grading. And for the record, I'm not advocating for clearing living trees, just the dying ones. Okay, understood.
Gotcha.
Adding a trail could be helpful. Yeah, we find that loop trails are some of the most popular amenities in our park, so we're definitely going to be looking at that. As for bins, having them in various spots would be helpful. I've gone and cleared the area of garbage numerous times due to kids leaving garbage everywhere while their parents play soccer. Okay, yeah, thanks for that. We will be looking at how best to design the park both for operations, meaning trash removal and lawn mowing, all those things that we normally do to keep the park in good condition.
Yep.
So thanks for that comment. All right, anyone else have any more questions? We have no more questions in the Q&A right now. Okay, this is a good one. I think it would be great once this project is finished to have volunteer opportunities to help with cleaning, etc. So thank you for that comment. We do have park cleanups as part of our volunteer services office. And there are also weed warrior opportunities within Montgomery parks. And maybe somebody could put in the chat some, oh, there we go, already. Weed warriors is in there. So thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
And to the person who said that you clean up garbage while you're out in the park, thank you very much. That's always helpful for us as well.
Yeah.
All right, and I see the parks volunteer opportunities just came up in the chat, so please check that out if you're interested in helping. We always appreciate our volunteers.
Any more questions rolling in, or?
No, I don't see any rolling in.
Okay.
Maybe we'll wait just a couple more minutes.
Sure.
But again, thank you so much for coming tonight. And we will keep you updated on park progress. Please fill out the survey and let us know your thoughts.